the core capital required for banks, mortgage finance companies, so that by 31st of December 2024, all of them should be within the threshold of 1 billion shillings, and which all are. Then by 31st of December 2026, they should have attained the core capital requirement of 5 billion shillings, and by 31st of December 2028 to attain the core capital threshold of 10 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, this is just amending from what was there in the bill. The bill required that the banks should attain the core capital of 10 billion shillings by 31st of December 2027, which is just about 3 years, in 3 years' time. We are now extending that 10 billion shillings to 4 years, up from 3 years. And the bill had also required them to attain 6 billion in 2 years, and we have brought that down to 5 billion in 2 years. I beg to move.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Yes?
Dealing strictly with farmers on farm inputs, why does it need the same capital base as Nedbank that deals with transnational investments? I think it is wrong. The central bank we should have different tiers of banks at different capitalization levels, dealing with different segments of society. If we insist that banks must have uniform capital, what in effect we will be doing is to create higher entry barriers for new business people who may wish to start banks, club or first-tier banks that may not necessarily be responsive to the needs of the rest of the market. And to make matters worse, the core capital is not the money that the banks use for their core business. Banking is based on leveraging of the core capital. It is based on insurance schemes. It is based on deposits. So to assume that the higher the capital base, the safer the...
Majority Leader.
Chair, and that is why the law today allows you to have microfinance banks that are a lower category than the normal commercial banks. But also, my point of order was that he was now debating. We were past debate yesterday when debated.
Yes, the Honorable, yes? Order, Karoli have not finished. Can you proceed, Karoli?
I have not finished. Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. You see, we need to really understand why we are doing these kind of things. If you begin to categorize financial institutions as micro and the rest, you are basically excluding certain segments of society, because that categorization limits the quality and the extension of services that they can offer people. There is nothing wrong having a bank of 1 billion core capital, another one of 20 billion core capital, depending on the business they are doing. There's nothing wrong. But to insist that they all must have a uniform core capital is wrong. And if you remember, the banks that have collapsed in this country, Chase Bank, Imperial Bank, even the big ones, Barings Bank, Lehman Brothers, they did not collapse because they had low core capital. They collapsed because of mismanagement. So this is not what we should be doing if we are talking about financial inclusion. We should allow new people to come up with new banks with low capital and banks that can be responsive to the needs of the market. Thank you.
You made your point, MP for Kenango.
Thank you, Chair.
I will give you, Chair, don't worry, I'll give you an opportunity.
Chair, as much as we would wish to support this amendment,
yes,
I think that the time frame that has been cited is too short. You know, growing from a core capital of 1 billion to 10 billion within a span of 4 years is really unreasonable. We are going to kill the little kids in the block, the little banks that are coming up. And indeed, I have some, just like the Honorable Kalori has just said, talk of farmers' banks, whose core capital is just, it will be too ambitious to bring them to speed at the level of 10 billion. I oppose this amendment.
The Honorable Dawood.
Chair, I support this amendment. Chair, it does not make any sense having small banks. We need to consolidate the banking industry in this country. And if any bank which feels it cannot, it can go the route of microfinance, Chair. So there is no reason. So I support this amendment, Chair.
The Honorable Kaguchia.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kimani, you'll have your moment.
I know for sure we had already looked at the second reading of this bill. But, Chair, the reason why we should also be going through these amendments and making our points is also so that it can either sail through or fail at this point. Honorable Speaker, Chair, we are not doing this just for the purposes of doing it. For sure, this is something that most of us are actually opposed to, because if you look at the time duration in which we are giving these banks to be able to raise their core capital is, number one, too short. Number two, the core capital that we are requiring that we raise to is so high, Honorable Chair, and this, in fact, is going to exit most of the smaller banks from the country or force them to either merge, consolidate, or even force the foreigners to come and buy local banks, Honorable Chair. And so that is why I'm totally opposed to this amendment at this stage.
The Honorable Oundo, be very brief. You know, this is the third reading.
Chair, I just wanted your guidance. There are very many amendments on that particular clause. Probably I also have an amendment I would wish to prosecute.
We will go one by one. We will deal with this, and we have a number of amendments, and we'll deal with them one at a time.
Okay, fine, that's understood.
Okay, the Honorable Malio, the Honorable Member of Parliament there, yes. Kitui Rural, proceed.
Chair, I totally oppose this amendment. As a member of Finance Committee, we made the stakeholders, six banks cannot raise this amount of money within 4 years. That means these banks are going to collapse. We are going to have financial shocks in the country, and we are going to lose employment.
Do you wish to be informed by the majority leader?
As a committee, we have proposed 7 years. Thank you very much.
Do you wish to be informed by, okay, the Honorable Chair Finance? Let me give you this opportunity, Chair Finance. Chair Finance, proceed.
Honorable Chair, I would like to inform this House on a few things. One, we have 24 commercial banks in Kenya. Out of these 24 banks, there are 18 of them already. Their core capital is around 6 billion shillings. We have only 6 banks that are between 3 billion